The grand hall of the palace on planet Jorah shone with silver and blue lights. Rows of alien nobles in flowing robes stood silent as the heavy doors opened. Soldiers in dark armor marched in, leading a tall human warrior between them, Princess. Valera sat on her shining throne, her golden eyes watching closely. She was young, yet the leader of her people. Her long silver hair flowed down her shoulders. Her people believed humans were dangerous outsiders, wild and untrustworthy. But when Valera saw the human, she wasn't sure she believed that. The warrior's name was Jace Thorn. His dark hair fell over his sharp eyes. And though his hands were tied, he stood straight with no fear. His uniform was torn from the crash of his ship. The High Counselor spoke loudly, "Your Highness, this human is a spy. We captured him near the border. He may be the first of many invaders." Valera nodded slowly, but said nothing. She stood and walked down the marble steps toward the prisoner. The nobles whispered, shocked that she would get so close. Valera stopped a step away from Jace. Her golden eyes met his steady gray ones. "You are from Earth?" she asked softly. Jace gave a small nod. "Yes, I am Commander Jace Thorn. I came." On a peace mission, the hall filled with murmurs. Peace? No one believed humans wanted peace. Valera studied him. His face showed no anger, only quiet strength. There was something strange about the way her heart felt near him, like a soft hum in the air. "You say peace. Yet you enter our space without permission," Valera said calmly. Jace answered. "My ship was pulled by mistake into your space. I tried to send a signal, but your forces captured me before I could explain." Valera turned to the counselor. "Is this true?" The counselor frowned. "He speaks lies. Humans always do." Valera gave a small smile. "Perhaps. Or perhaps we fear what we do not know." She looked back at Jace. "You will be placed in the royal cells. I will question you myself." The hall gasped. A princess questioning a human alone. It had never happened before. But Valera only lifted her chin. "I will know the truth." Jace held her gaze. "I'll tell you all I know, Princess." Something in his voice felt honest. Something inside Valera stirred. She didn't understand it yet. That night, Valera walked alone down the quiet hallways of the royal chambers. The guards bowed as she passed, but she waved them off. She reached the underground prison where Jace was kept. A single guard opened the door to the cell. Inside, Jace sat on a small bench, his hands still bound. He looked up in surprise as Valera entered. "No guards?" Jace asked softly. Valera smiled a little. "Do you mean to harm me?" Jace shook his head. "No, I have no reason to." Valera stepped closer. The air felt strange again, as if something unseen filled the space between them. "I have questions," she said. "But I also have curiosity." Jace met her eyes. "About me? About humans? About why you seem different from what I expected?" Jace gave a small smile. "Maybe because we're not so different." For a moment, they stood in silence. Then Valera reached out slowly and touched Jace's hand. A soft warmth rushed through her. Not heat, but something deeper. It was like a soft light filled her heart. She pulled her hand back quickly, her eyes wide. Jace frowned. "Did you feel that too?" Valera didn't answer. Her heart beat fast. She turned toward the door. "I will see you again, human," Jace called after her softly. "I'll be waiting." "Princess." Outside the cell, Valera leaned against the wall, her thoughts racing. She had read ancient stories, old tales of bonds between beings from different worlds. Stories the elders said were myths, but what if they were true? What if the human warrior in her palace was her bonded mate? The soft blue lights of the palace shone in the quiet night as Princess Valera sat alone in her private chamber. She stared at the glowing stone on her deska. Small crystal used by the royal family, showed memories of the past. Tonight, the images on the crystal were of old legends. They told stories of the bonded ones, two souls from different worlds. Joined by heart, chosen by something greater than fate. Valera touched the crystal gently. Could those stories be true? Could a bond like that really exist between a Jiren and a human? Her mind returned to Jace Thorn, the human warrior held in the palace cells. Every time she spoke to him, she felt something strange, something she couldn't explain. She remembered the moment she touched his hand, the soft warmth that rushed through her. It wasn't fear, it wasn't danger. It was something deeper. Her heart whispered a question she couldn't ignore. Was Jace her bonded mate? The next morning, Valer visited the royal library. The tall, quiet halls were filled with old books and ancient scrolls. She searched for hours, reading stories of the first bond when Girans and humans had once walked together, long before kingdoms and war. One line caught her eye. When the hearts of two chosen ones meet, the bond will awaken. Stronger than any power, brighter than any crown. Valer read the words again and again. The bond didn't come from fear or command. It came from trust, from choice. She closed the book slowly. If this was true, then the bond could not be forced. To be real, she stood up with a new thought in her heart. She needed to see Jace again, not as a prisoner, but as a person. That evening, Valer entered the royal prison quietly. The guards stepped aside, trusting her command. Inside the simple cell, Jace sat on the stone bench, calm and watchful. When he saw Valer, he stood slowly. "Back so soon, princess?" he asked with a soft smile. Valer smiled gently. "I have questions, and I think you might have answers." Jace nodded. "Ask me anything." She stepped closer. "Why did you really come here, Jace? What did you hope to find?" Jace looked into her golden eyes. "I came with a peace team. We wanted to speak with your people. My ship was pulled off course. I was captured before I could explain." Valer studied his face. His words felt honest. His eyes held no lies. Jace continued, "I don't want war. My people don't want war. We want to learn, to grow. Maybe even make friends." Valer felt the strange warmth in her heart again. Slowly she reached out her hand. Jace hesitated only a moment before gently taking it. The moment their hands touched, a soft glow sparked between them, small but real. Valer gasped softly. Jace's eyes widened. "Did you feel that?" whispered. Valer nodded, her heart racing. "Yes, it's the bond." Jace looked at their hands. "Is this normal?" Valer smiled a little. "No, it's not." They stood there in silence, both feeling the soft hum between them. The next day, Valer called her old friend Mira to her private chamber. Mira, a loyal guard and trusted friend, entered quietly. "You called for me, princess?" Valer nodded. "Mira, I believe I may be bonded." Mira's eyes widened. "With the human?" Valer nodded. "I felt it. I saw it. And I believe it's real." Mira sat down slowly. "The council will not like this." Valer sighed. "They will not believe me. They will say I'm a fool, or worse." Mira placed a hand on Valer's. "But I believe you." Valer smiled softly. "Thank you," Mira whispered. "What will you do now?" Valer stood, her heart steady. "I will speak with Jace again. I will find the truth. I will protect him." That night, Valer met Jace in the quiet garden near the palace walls. The stars above Jorah glowed softly. They walked side by side among the shining flowers. Jace spoke softly. "Why are you risking this? Your people, your throne." Valer looked at him. "Because I believe in what I feel. I believe in you." Jace stopped and looked into her eyes. "And if this bond is real, what then?" Valer smiled. "Then we face the future together. Whatever it brings." Jace took her hand gently. The soft warmth of the bond filled the air around them. Stood there, quiet, under the starry sky. Two hearts slowly finding each other, but far beyond the palace walls, shadows moved. The royal council watched. They did not trust what they could not control. The sun of Jorah shone high in the sky as Princess Valer stood in the quiet royal garden. Bright flowers bloomed around her, but her heart was heavy. She stared at the message crystal in her hand. It was from the royal council, filled with words of warning. They planned to declare war on the humans. They believed Jace was a spy sent to learn their secrets. The council saw his capture as a sign that humans would attack soon. They wanted to use Jace as proof that humans were a danger. Valera felt fear and anger mix inside her. They were wrong. Jace was not a spy. She had spoken with him for many nights now. Each time they talked, she saw his honesty, his kindness, and the strange bond that grew stronger between them. She couldn't let her people start a war on a lie, eh? Soft voice spoke behind her. Your Highness, Valera turned? It was Mira, her oldest friend and trusted guard. The council meets at sunset, Mira said softly. They will ask you to give the order for war. Valera looked away. I will not give it. Myra stepped closer. They will not listen to you. I already believe you are. Too soft on the human. Valera gave a bitter smile. Because I spoke to him? Because I saw something in him they refused to see? Mira looked at her with soft eyes. Because you care. Valera felt her heart twist. Did she? Was it more than curiosity now? She shook her head. I have to stop them, but I cannot do it alone. Mira placed a hand on her shoulder. Then you won't be alone. That night, Valera entered the royal prison quietly. The guards stepped aside when they saw Mira with her. Inside the cell, Jace stood up as they entered. His eyes met Valera's, full of calm and a silent question. She spoke quickly. Jace, they will use you as a weapon, a reason to start a war against your people. I cannot let that happen. Jace nodded slowly. What do you plan? Valera took a deep breath. We must escape. We must leave this palace with me tonight. If we reach the ancient lands, I believe we can find proof that will stop this war. Jace's eyebrows lifted. You're risking everything. Valera met his eyes. So are you. For a long moment, they stood in silence. Then Jace gave a small, soft smile. I'm with you. Mira unlocked his chains. Then we move now, before the council gathers. They slipped through dark halls and hidden paths. The palace was a maze, but Valera knew every corner. Ira led the way, silent and sure. Twice they passed royal guards. Once a patrol walked right by them, but Valera felt a strange warmth in her chest stand somehow. The guards didn't notice them. Jace whispered, Did you feel that? Valera nodded. Yes, it was the bond again, protecting them. She felt it deep inside, like a shield around them. They reached a hidden exit near the palace wall. The sky outside was dark, and the stars of Jorah glowed softly. Mira turned to Valera. This is where I leave you, my princess. Valera touched her friend's hand. Thank you, Mira, for trusting me. Mira smiled. Find the truth. And come back safe. Valera and Jace stepped out into the cool night air. They were free for now. They walked fast under the cover of night. Valera led the way, toward the hills beyond the city. Jace walked beside her. You believe the truth is in the ancient lands? Valera nodded. There are temples older than our kingdoms. My people say they are ruins of a time when Jirans met travelers from other worlds. I believe the answers we need are there. Wait. Looked at her with soft eyes. And you believe I'm part of that truth? Valera felt her cheeks grow warm. I don't know. But I know I trust you. More than I ever thought I would, Jace gave a small smile. I trust you too. They walked in silence for a while. Stars shone brighter now. At last Jace spoke again. You said something? Before, about feeling something when I'm near. What did you mean? Valera stopped and looked at him. The bond stirred inside her, soft and real. I don't know what it means yet, she said softly. But when I'm near you, I feel like I'm not alone. Like you are part of me. Jace reached out and gently touched her hand. His touch was warm and steady. I feel it too, he said. They stood there in the quiet of the night, the bond. Between them growing stronger, but far behind them. The royal banners of the council rose high, and the hunt for the princess and the human had already begun. The early morning sun painted the sky soft orange as Valera and Jace reached the quiet hills beyond the royal city. Before them stood a stone temple, half covered by vines and moss. Its walls were marked with strange symbols older than any written language. Valera stopped in front of the grand stone door. This is it, the temple of the first bond. Jace looked at the carvings. It doesn't look like something built for war. Valera shook her head. It wasn't. The stories say this place was made by our ancestors before there were kingdoms or armies. They believed in bonds beyond races and worlds. Jace placed a hand on the cool stone, and maybe this is where we'll find answers. Valera felt the familiar hum in her heart, the same feeling she had near Jace. She reached out and pressed her hand beside his. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the stone beneath their hands glowed faintly. The grand door slid open with a soft sound, revealing a quiet, glowing hall beyond. Jace raised an eyebrow. I'm guessing that doesn't happen for everyone. Valera smiled softly. No, only those with the bond. Inside, the air felt cool and calm. Soft light came from crystal lines in the walls. They walked slowly, their footsteps soft on the smooth floor. Carvings on the walls showed images, tall beings like Girans standing beside humans. In each carving, their hands touched, and a soft light joined them. Jace ran his hand over one image. They knew each other. Long ago, Valera nodded. Yes, my people forgot. Or maybe they chose to forget. At the center of the hall stood a large stone platform. On it rested a small crystal sphere. Valera stepped forward, feeling the bond stir again. She looked at Jace. Let's touch it together. Jace nodded. They placed their hands on the sphere at the same time. A soft light filled the room, and a voice, gentle and wise, spoke around them. The bond is not by blood, but by heart. Across stars and time, it calls two souls together. Human and Jiren. Not enemies, but partners in the path of peace. Valera's eyes widened. The sphere continued to glow softly under their hands. Jace looked at her. This is real. Valera nodded slowly. It's true. The stories, the bond, it's all real. They stood there, silent, the weight of the moment sinking in. After a while, Jace spoke softly. This proves everything. We have to show this to your people and mine. Valera looked down. Yes. But the council will never listen. Unless we bring them here. Jace gave a soft laugh. I don't think they'll come if we ask nicely. Valera smiled a little, but her heart felt heavy. We need to do something bigger, something they can't deny. Jace met her eyes. Then we bring the truth to them ourselves. Valera nodded. We take the message of the bond and we stand before them together. They left the temple before noon. The soft hum of the bond stayed with them as they walked back toward the city. But before they could reach the lower hills, a shadow moved in the sky. Valera looked up. Royal airships. The council's soldiers were searching for them. Jace frowned. They're already hunting us. Valera's heart pounded. We have to reach the city before them. Jace nodded. We have to face them. It's not as prisoners, but as bonded. Valera smiled at him side by side. As they walked, Jace spoke softly. I used to believe I chose my path, that destiny wasn't real. Valera glanced at him, and now Jace gave a small smile. I believe some things are worth choosing, even if they feel like destiny. Valera felt her heart warm. I'm glad I chose you. Jace reached out and gently took her hand. And I'm glad I chose you, Princess. They walked on, hand in hand, toward the city and toward whatever waited for them next. Far behind them, the Royal Council watched, the skies waiting to crush any threat. But this time, the truth itself was coming to meet them. The grand city of Jorah Prime stood ahead, its towers shining under the soft light of twin moons. But the city did not welcome Valera and Jace with open arms. At the main gates, rows of royal guards blocked the entrance. The soldiers stood firm, their silver armor reflecting the fading sunlight. Banners of the Royal Council waved high above them. Valera stopped a few steps away from the guards. Jace stood beside her, calm but watchful. The captain of the guards stepped forward. Princess. Valera, he called, his voice firm. By order of the High Council, you are under arrest, and the human beside you is to be taken for questioning. Whispers ran through the crowd that had gathered around the gates. People stared in shock, some with fear, others with curiosity. Valera lifted her chin. We have returned not as captives, but with the truth The captain frowned. "The council awaits your surrender." Jace glanced at Valera. "We can still leave. We don't have to do this." Valera shook her head. "If we run, the lies win. We face them now, together." Jace gave a small, quiet smile. Together. They were brought before the Grand Council circle of leaders seated high above the royal court hall. The chamber was packed with nobles, officers, and curious citizens. The High Counselor, a tall man with sharp eyes, spoke first. "Valera, you betrayed your people. You ran with a human enemy. Now you stand here expecting mercy?" Valera stood tall beside Jace. "I expect truth, and so should you." The High Counselor laughed bitterly. "What truth can a human bring?" "Us." Jace stepped forward. His voice was calm but strong. "The truth that your fear blinds you, that this bond between me and your princess is real." Gasps filled the hall. The word bond echoed on every lip. The High Counselor stood. "Enough. This is a trick." Valera raised her hand. In her palm lay the glowing crystal sphere from the temple of the first bond. A soft light filled the room as she held it beside Jace's hand. The light grew stronger until it bathed the entire hall in a soft glow. The people stared in silence. Valera spoke clearly. "This is the truth of our worlds. The bond between human and Jiren is real. We are not enemies. We are partners, if we choose to be," Jace added. "And I choose this bond." With her, the hall fell silent. No one dared to speak. The High Counselor's face darkened. "Do you choose a human over your throne?" Valera met his eyes without fear. "I choose peace. I choose a future where our people do not fear each other. If that costs me the throne, then I give it up." A soft murmur ran through the crowd. Some faces showed shock. Others showed hope. The High Counselor raised his hand, seized them. "Both." But before the guards could move, Mir Valera's loyal friend stepped forward from the crowd. She spoke loudly. "I stand with the princess and the truth she brings." One by one, others joined her. Young guards, old nobles, even merchants from the back of the hall. Valera's heart swelled with hope. The High Counselor's voice shook with anger. "This is treason," Valera shook her head. "No, this is choice. Choice of the heart, the choice of peace." Stood beside her, his hand gently holding hers. "We stand together. We won't stand down." The High Counselor stared at the man, then turned away, his power fading as the people's voices rose in support of Valera. Later that evening, Valera stood on the balcony of the royal palace. The city below hummed with new hope. Jace stood. Beside her, "You gave up your throne." Valera smiled softly. "I gave up a crown of fear for a future of choice." Jace looked at her. "And what now?" Valera took his hand. "Now we build a new path, together." Jace smiled. "I never believed in destiny, but I believe in us." Valera nodded. "So do I." They stood there as the stars of Jorah filled the sky. Two hearts, two worlds bound not by fate, but by the choice of the heart. The morning sun rose gently over Jorah Prime, casting soft golden light across the royal city. The streets, once filled with fear and rumors of war, now buzzed with whispers of hope. On the palace balcony, Princess Valera stood beside Jace Thorn, her bonded mate. They watched as people gathered below, the young, the old, the nobles, and the commoners. Today was not a day of war. Today was a new beginning. Valera took a slow breath. "Are you ready?" Jace gave a small smile. "With you?" "Always." Valera smiled back. Her heart felt light yet strong. They had faced fear. They had faced lies. Now they would face the future together, inside the grand hall. Leaders from both Jorah and the human colonies sat side by side for the first time in history. The High Counselor sat quietly among them, no longer holding power. He watched with narrowed eyes, but he no longer spoke for the people. Valera and Jace entered the hall hand in hand. All eyes turned to them. Valera spoke first, her voice calm but full of quiet strength. "My people, and honored guests from Earth, we stand here not as enemies, but as partners in a shared future." She held up the crystal of the first bond, Its soft light glowed warmly in her hand. This crystal does not lie. It shows a truth older than any kingdom. That our hearts can bond beyond race, beyond world. This bond is not of power or fear. It is of trust, of choice, of peace. Jace stepped forward. I came to Jorah by accident. I was captured, but I was also given a chance to meet Valera, a chance to see the truth behind the fear. I stand here today, not as a prisoner, but as a friend, a partner, as her bonded mate. The hall remained silent for a moment. Then an elder Jiren noble rose from his seat. I have served the council for 50 years, but today I choose to stand with the truth. He bowed his head to Valera and Jace. Slowly, others stood. Humans, Jirans, leaders, soldiers, even merchants. One by one, they stood not for war, but for peace. Later, as the hall emptied, Valera and Jace walked through the palace gardens. Mira joined them, her eyes bright with pride. You changed everything, my princess. Valera smiled. Not alone. We did this together. Mira nodded. The council will no longer rule with fear. The people have spoken. Jace looked around at the quiet beauty of the garden. Happens now? Valera answered softly. We begin the work of peace. New talks. New bonds. New hope. Mira smiled. And perhaps a new story for the future. Weeks passed. Then weeks. Valera and Jace worked side by side meeting leaders, traveling between Jorah and human colonies, speaking of peace, trust, and unity. Where once there were walls of fear, bridges were built. Where once there were rumors of war, there were now plans for trade, study, and friendship. The bond between Valera and Jace became a symbol. Living story of how two worlds could stand together. But beyond the meetings and grand talks, they remained simply to people, two hearts, who had chosen each other. One quiet evening, under the soft glow of Giara's twin moons. Valera and Jace stood on the hillside near the temple of the first bond. Jace looked at the ancient walls. It started here. Valera smiled gently. And it continues here, with us. Jace turned to her. Do you ever wonder? What if I had never come to Jorah? Valera reached for his hand. Then I would still be waiting. For the bond I never knew I needed. Jace squeezed her hand softly. I never believed in destiny, but I believe in this. Valera nodded. Do I? They stood there, silent for a moment, feeling the soft hum of the bond between them, a bond born. Not of fate, but of choice, of trust, of heart. And above them, the stars of two worlds shone as one.